Okay, so this is where we left off yesterday, correct? I hope. All right. So we talked about how water has a high specific heat, how it's very hard to change the temperature of water. A lot of times, I should say usually, there is a test question about high specific heat and water. And a lot of it is intuitive, just about you understanding that water does not easily change its temperature. That's why it is the solvent of life. Okay? What? A universal solvent. Okay? And that has a lot to do with the polarity, but then the other attribute that it doesn't change its temperature very easily is another reason why it supports life. Okay? And we already did this slide, I know, from yesterday. So again, if you look at a graph, water will actually maintain, this graph, water will actually maintain its temperature for a very long time until you actually are able to get enough energy to excite it enough to go almost into a gaseous form. So it retains its liquid stage through a lot of energy, or with a lot of energy present. Now water has that high heat of vaporization, and this is where you guys wanted me to pick up on, I know. And the bonds must be broken to evaporate water. I know you understand basic chemistry and evaporation. But the bodies of organisms cool when their heat is used to evaporate water. That's how we get rid of heat. Because water has this ability to, well, it has bonds in it. It has the ability to store energy and heat energy. And if we get rid of water and it's storing the energy, obviously we're going to get rid of the heat too. So we use that as a homeostatic mechanism. Does everybody remember what the word homeostasis means? Homeo means same, stasis, state or condition of, right? Okay. We'll do more with that later with negative feedback. How many in here have had anatomy already with me? So you're familiar with negative feedback? Just a few of you. Okay, we'll talk more about that when we get into homeostasis. So water is a good solvent. A lot of that's due to its polarity. The polar substances dissolve readily in water. Why do polar substances dissolve in water? I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to poll you. I'm going to use the tool that's in front of you. Why do polar substances dissolve in water? Because I just did a whole biochem activity that was talking about polarity, and I won't say another word or I'll give you the answer. So no responses. There's one. Take a guess. I won't dig in and find out who you are, I promise. Unless you put something bad in there, right? So I have at least 16 devices I know of in here that are mine that are on. So I should have at least that many answers, probably more. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If I don't get participation, I might at the end of the hour find out which device is not participating and maybe ask you to start participating. Okay? So the next time I ask a question, I want everybody to type in an answer. It doesn't have to be lengthy. I see why. People are probably typing in some essays. Okay. So it's easier for the ions to dissociate because ions are what? Charge, right? And if water has a charge on each end, it's going to be attracted to both positive and negative ions, which makes it a kind of this universal thing, right? They have partial negative and positive. That's correct. They're able to bond through hydrogen bonds. So hydrogen bonds is that attraction we're talking about, right? Water being attracted to another molecule that has a charge. That ... line that we draw as a hydrogen bond is the attractive force and is that property that allows water to be the universal solvent. They are hydrophilic. Yep, that's what it means to be hydrophilic, to be attracted to water through a hydrogen bond. Or anything that's, well, it's not just hydrogen bonding, but for this class it is, we'll say. So unequal sharing of electrons, that is what the polar bond is between hydrogen, oxygen, and water that creates this condition, yes. And the partial charge in each end of water, yep, that's what we're talking about. Good. So you guys, I know you understand that generally. So that means that if I put something like sodium that has a positive charge in water, it will dissociate from something like chlorine. Like if I throw salt in water, we know it dissociates, or we always say it dissolves, but really it just dissociates, and water separates. Okay. So the two ions, the positive end of sodium attracted to the negative end, the more electronegative end, I should say, of the water molecule, whereas the negative chlorine ion is going to be attracted to the more electropositive end, the hydrogen end of the water molecule. So water molecules are both cohesive and adhesive, and I'm not going to pull the jar out and hold it over somebody's head this year, but you guys remember doing that? Okay, so the fact that water bonds to itself means it's cohesive. Are we kind of a cohesive group in here? Yeah, we don't even take breaks with everybody else, right? We're in this room, we're a cohesive group. That means we stick together. Okay, so it's the ability of water molecules to cling to each other due to hydrogen bonding. So water is attracted to itself because there is a positive and a negative end to water, right? So water flows freely, and it also is going to create something called surface tension because it holds together. If we all held together strong enough, somebody could probably walk across us, right? If we held our arms together, maybe a tightrope walker, you know, if we all lined up, they could walk across us because we're bonding to each other. If we all got in a line, a tightrope walker could walk across us. That's kind of a really weird example, but that's what popped in my head. Okay, so because of cohesion, that would be surface tension. Anybody ever seen the water bugs that scoot along the top of the water? They're using that surface tension almost like they're surfing the crowd at a concert, right? Okay, think of the crowd as the little water molecules. Can you guys do me a favor, though? I want you to actually draw a hydrogen bond between two water molecules. I'm going to give you a blank canvas. Go ahead. It's going to be sloppy, I know. Don't worry about it. Do it fast. Do it in 30 seconds. How about that? Maybe a minute.
What are we doing?
Two water molecules hydrogen bonding to each other. I want to see what you guys come up with. This works way better on a tablet. I know. It's not a touchscreen. Oh, okay. I didn't know. That's right. You're my AP bio group. You knew that. I got some kids that wouldn't know that. It's kind of a challenge, isn't it? I'm kind of doing this more to get you used to the tool for right now. It is hard with the mouse pad, yes, I know. But he's like, oh, it's easy, guys. What are you talking about? Yeah. A lot easier on the iPad. Ideally, I'd have like a tablet and maybe that's what I should do. A tablet and a device. That'd be fun. What? Right here. Where's it at? Where's your submit button? Maybe it's not showing up. What? No, that's the color. Wow. I don't know. Why isn't it? Oh, she says drag it to the left. Oh, wrong way. Let's see if it came in. I have 17 responses. Maybe you're one of them. Let's see what happens. Oh, well, it's okay. I think it automatically does it. I haven't used this one. All right. This one was new to me. I wanted to play with it and see how it worked. So it was new to Pear Deck like a couple weeks ago, and they sent me an email, and I forgot about it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try it. What? No, it's fine. It looks good. I like it. It's Mickey Mouse. Yay. Oh, no dotted lines. That'd be wrong, but it's cute. All right. Oh, what's wrong with this, though? I don't want to know who did it. What's wrong with this? Positive. Oxygen is going to be, it has more protons. It's going to draw more what in? More negative electrons from hydrogen. So this should be negative because the oxygen should be negative, right? Okay. I like that. That's a good. Oh, no. Are the oxygens attracted to each other? No. Okay. Oh, that's good. As long as the red is an oxygen, ... to the hydrogen that's positive. Yeah, hold on a second. If I pass yours by, don't feel bad. What?
No, it wasn't the oxygen. I drew like a line, like labeling.
Oh, I see. Ooh, that's a fancy. I like that one. Look at that. Oh, we're missing is a negative, right? Oh, what happened? Well, no. Well, okay, I'm going to go back up here. I saw like a really fancy one that came in. Where'd it go? You guys get the idea, right? So if I were to just take a moment here and, oh, no, everybody, stop entering them in for a moment, please, because otherwise I'm going to not be able to stop the screen. If I were to take a moment here and just draw on this, I'd say, okay, this should be negative, right, and this should be positive, and this should be positive, positive, negative, negative, positive, positive. We good there? And then that's the hydrogen bond, right, that we've been talking about. I'm just as sloppy as you guys, right? Okay. It's okay to be sloppy if you're right, right? All right. So ice is less dense than liquid. Oh, did I miss some? I think I did. Every time I do that, I got to go back and remember. So that's cohesion, water to itself, right? Adhesion, what's on the back of a sticker? And adhesive, right? So something sticking to something else is adhesion. So because water has that positive and negative polarity to it, it likes to bond to other things. In fact, so much that it creates like drag if you're on a boat. Anybody ever like been skiing and fall off the skis and hold on to the rope? Does water bond to you? Oh yeah, like you feel it. Man, just keep holding on and have the boat go 60 miles an hour. You'll feel it. That's water grabbing a hold of you. It's bonding to you, hydrogen bonding. Okay. You get out of the shower, water doesn't just hit the floor, does it? No, it sticks to you. Okay, sticks to your hair. Okay, sticks to every part of you. Okay, that's because it's bonding to you. It's hydrogen bonding to you. If you were truly hydrophobic, it would just hit the floor. That'd be kind of neat, wouldn't it? What if you had a hydrophobic conditioner? It's kind of what conditioner. It's what conditioner is a little bit. But what if you had a truly one, and like you just went, and all the water went, boom, you know? It would just hit the shower and you'd be done. You'd be a rich man. Someone should make that. We're doing our innovation projects right there. I don't know how you would get it out afterwards, but it'd be like Teflon in your hair. I don't know. That's up to you to figure out. I'm obviously not the chemist in the room, right? Okay. So I don't know how that's going to work. You would have to yeah, I don't know. But that would be very cool, right? So now that I've gone way off topic, adhesion is water's ability to stick to other things because of the polarity. If you spray water on the window, it sticks to the window, right? We've talked about this before. Windows are made of glass, which is what on the periodic table? Silicon, and you look at silicon and it's in family what? 4. That means it really doesn't care if it's positive or negative, right? It's kind of in this neutral electronegativity zone where it can be plus -4. So water is really attracted to it because both positive and negative ends of water are going to grab a hold of it. Did you get that? Okay, all right. I know that was really fast, but it was more of a review from last year. So cohesion and adhesion account for water transport in plants as well as transport in blood vessels. Why? Water bonds to the sides of our vessels. This is the only way blood gets back to your heart, by the way. We would all like to think our hearts are strong enough to pump the blood back. They don't. It climbs back up veins. Okay? So water is actually climbing up the sides of your veins and all the way back up to your vena cava to get back into your heart so it can be pumped back. It does this by adhering to the sides and also cohesively climbing up itself. It'd be like me holding on to the side of a wall and pulling my buddy up at the same time. That's how your blood gets back because it's made mostly of water. Okay? There were some questions about blood the other day on that biochemistry activity. Your blood is polar because it's chock full of water. So ice is less dense than liquid water. We know that. Ice floats, right? At temperatures below 4 degrees Celsius, hydrogen bonds between water molecules become more rigid but also more open. And water expands as it reaches 0. Water does this really cool thing when it freezes. Okay, so ice floats on liquid water. We know that, and it acts as an insulator on top of a frozen body of water. Why does ice insulate water? I want you guys to tell me why ice insulates water, right? Solvent, sorry. I believe that's what that is. So, you guys, why does ice insulate whatever's beneath it? Why? This is a tricky one. I want you to think about the spaces between the walls in your home. This one's not an obvious one. Just take a guess. It's okay to be wrong. I want you guys to be wrong every now and then. It's okay. Just take a guess. Make something up. I don't need a paragraph. Just quick, short, 2 or 3 words. 3. As soon as I get over 10, I'm going to jump into it. Let's see what we came up with. So I see energy to penetrate the ice. Okay, that's part of it a little bit. The layer between the water and the cold air that allows for less transfer of heat between. I like that answer. I won't ask who said that, but that's a good one. Keeps the heat contained. It holds heat. So why does it keep the heat contained is what I'm after. So the biggest one, you guys, is it creates space. So you've got these gaps in your wall at home that you put insulation in, right? And then that insulation holds air that basically is putting a barrier between the inside and the outside of your home. And hopefully it's isolated so heat can't transfer between it. And the bigger this barrier is, the less heat can transfer from one place to the other or be lost. So if we have ice on top of water, that's why the water below is still what? Water, right? It's still liquid, and it's warmer than the air above, obviously. And that's predominantly why. And also there's atmospheric pressure and a few other things that come into play why the ice doesn't freeze solid, but a huge part is that water is insulated, okay, by those spaces that are made by the expansion of water. Water does a really weird thing. If water is going to expand, it's going to take energy. So right before water freezes and reaches 0, those molecules are shoving on themselves so hard that they create what? Heat friction. So water actually does this really weird thing. It heats up and then freezes really fast. And that's how it expands. So when it creates so much pressure, it's almost like a miniature Big Bang in the freezing of water in a way. So it gets so close together, lots of friction, too much energy in one spot, expands, makes room for the energy. Okay? And that's why water crystallizes, basically. So it's kind of a neat thing that water does, very unique. Did we finish that last slide? Okay, good. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head. If it freezes, just stay with me. That happens from time to time. So pH is a measurement of the hydrogen ion concentration in the solution. It basically means the potential of hydrogen, right? You guys have probably learned that in chemistry before. They do that because it's involving all of these ions that have to do with hydrogen. So when water ionizes or dissociates, it releases an equal number of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. If I make more hydroxide ions, I am a base. If I make more hydronium ions, I am an acid. So acids are substances that dissociate in water, releasing hydrogen ions. What is that one functional group I'm kind of looking for in acids to create an acid? Carboxyl, right? COOH. I'm also looking for extra hydrogens hanging off the sides of molecules, right? Because that can also lead to a hydronium ion being formed. Bases are substances that take up hydrogen ions, and then they will result in a hydroxide ion or OH negative ion. So if I see a substance that's going to have OHs hanging off the side, I'm looking at a base, or an amine, right? NH2 also causes these to be created. We good here? Sometimes I move too fast. Please tell me if I do. So that pH scale, I know you're familiar with it. That's why we're not going to spend tons of time on it. You might be doing pH in this first lab that we're going to start after the test tomorrow. But the pH scale is used to indicate the acidity or basicity or alkalinity, we also call that, of a solution. So how basic or how acidic is your solution is what we're asking. Does anybody know the pH of your blood? 7.4. Okay. We are slightly basic. Anybody know what happens to your blood once you drink 2 Cokes? You shift roughly 1 on the pH scale towards being more acidic. So that's another reason pop's bad for you. Yeah. Changes the whole pH of your body. So values range from 0 to 14. 7 is neutral. We like to say we're neutral, but we're not really. We're slightly basic. So 7 to 14, 14 being on the basic side or more alkaline, whereas less than 7 being acidic. Now this is a logarithmic scale, so a slight shift, what appears to be a slight shift, like a, let's say a 7.4 to a 6.4, is really 10 times more acidic, right? What about a 7.4 to a 5.4? What is that? 100 times more acidic, right? Because it's logarithmic, 10 times 10, okay? So it's on a scale of 10, but it's 10 times 10. So the pH of 4 is 10 times as acidic as the pH of 5, and if I go from a pH of 10, that's going to be 10 times more than 8. That means if I go from a 10 to, let's say, a 7, that's 1,000, right? So when you read a pH scale and it's a 3, and we compare that to our blood, you're looking at 6, 5, 4, 3, right? 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 is 1,000, times 10 is 10,000. So a 3 would be 10,000 times more acidic than our blood. That's why lemon juice makes you go like that, right? Because that's like a 3. Yeah, I'm not going to do that again. Funny faces. So if you look at the pH scale, this is roughly where the range would be. Your stomach acid, that's why it's so acidic in your tum-tum, okay? You actually secrete this alkalinity solution from your pili, from these goblet cells. You'll learn about that if you take anatomy someday. But you secrete this fluid that puts this lining on your stomach. Otherwise, your stomach would eat itself. Okay, that would happen. But it doesn't happen because of that. But anywhere on the pH scale, go figure milk is right around neutral. That makes sense, right? Because babies drink milk, and they don't have all the enzymes to control their pH yet. So it has to be right in that optimal pH range for infants and baby cows and all of that. So it is slightly acidic because of the lactose involved, though, the sugar that's in there. Remember we talked about sugars and acids yesterday just a little bit? Was in the lab maybe? With glucose and lactose, slightly on the acidic side. So if when you get your biochem paper, Polgo back, just take a look. Any sugar is usually going to transfer as an acid, a slight acid anyway. Okay. On the basic side, we know that some things are basic, but like we know baking soda, anything that is, what's the word I want to say here, bitter and not sour is usually basic. Things that are slimy are generally basic. Soaps, okay, things of that nature. If I go back to the acid side, often they're sour, right? Okay. So if I asked you, if I gave you like, let's say stomach acid compared to tomatoes, how many more times acidic is stomach acid, right down here, we'll say it's a 1, to tomatoes that are a 4? So 10 times 10 times 10, right? So 1,000, yeah. So your stomach acid is 10 times more acidic than a tomato. So why when I drink something like a pop, which is right here, almost a 3, right? Okay. Why when I drink a pop does it only shift my pH 1 or a couple pops? How can I do that? Everybody say buffer. Buffer, right? Your blood is not just acid or not just bases, it has both, which means it can buffer these solutions, sort of neutralize them as they come in. So a buffer is a chemical or a combination of chemicals that keeps pH within normal limits. And the health of organisms requires the maintaining that pH of body fluids within a narrow limit or range. We've talked about it. Blood is 7.4, slightly basic. If pH drops below 7, acidosis results. Acidosis is when you start to break things down with acids, like the walls of your arteries and veins. Does this sound good? No. You're basically creating an acid and running it through your system, almost like Drano for your pipes at home. That's good if you got a clog, but if you don't have a clog and you're a normal functioning pipe, you don't want Drano running through you. It's caustic. A pH going above 7.8 can also make alkalosis occur. That's where the opposite happens. Well, same idea. You break it down due to being too basic. Both of these are life-threatening situations. So yes, you drink pop, you put your body in a life-threatening situation, literally. Isn't that scary? And we sell the stuff. Yeah, and this isn't just like regular, sugary pop's even worse, but even regular pop does this as well, or diet pop does this as well. Plus diet pop causes cancer in lab mice, so you shouldn't drink that either. Ugh. All right, so body has built-in mechanisms to prevent pH scales. We have buffers, okay? We have this system. So if you drink something or you have an upset stomach, anybody ever give you a glass of milk before? No? When you're a kid? Anybody have an upset acidic stomach and mom and dad give you a glass? Milk is a lot like blood because it's a buffer. It has both acids and you give you a Sprite? Okay.
You're like out or lying to your stomach in like a protective cover.
Who told you that?
My parents, I don't know.
Okay. Ask your doctor about that. Don't just take my word for it, though. I want you to really go get a professional's opinion on this. But no.
I know that this thing is Sprite.
Mine gave me Vernors, so mine were no better, right? They're like, here, some Vernors, then add some bubbles so that stuff really comes back up. I never understood why they thought that cured it, but they told me it made me feel better, so for some reason it probably did, but it was probably all psychological. Yes. Oh, really? Okay. I don't suggest if you have the flu drinking milk, because that's got proteins in it, you're just going to throw those back up, but maybe perhaps water is the best. Because it's neutral, right? All right, you guys. I am actually going to stop. We're done.